Now, if Biden can't make it through an interview with MSNBC without help, how is he going to make it another 4 years?
Take one look at President Biden's approval ratings, and you'll know that the public isn't exactly satisfied with his administration. However, some people are more vocal about their dissatisfaction than others. Jesse Watters is one public figure who doesn't shy away from criticizing the president. Sometimes Biden loses it and replies to Watters. Most times he simply ignores him. In this video, we will be talking about how Jesse Watters destroys Biden and why his attacks on the president aren't unfounded. Jesse Watters holds nothing back in recent Biden attacks. Jesse Watters, the renowned American conservative political commentator, came for Biden during his latest Watters World segment on Fox News. With a laser focus on the issues that matter most to everyday Americans, Watters didn't shy away from highlighting the harsh realities facing our nation. First on the chopping block was the alarming rise of inflation, which is wreaking havoc on the real wages of hardworking Americans. Watters didn't hold back in exposing how this insidious force is eroding the savings and paychecks of regular citizens, leaving them struggling to make ends meet. And let's not forget the skyrocketing gas prices that are hitting families where it hurts the most, their wallets. Watters slammed Biden for his failure to address this pressing issue, leaving American families to bear the burden of exorbitant fuel costs. But it didn't stop there. Watters turned his attention to Biden's perceived weakness in the face of China's growing influence and the ongoing border crisis. With a no-nonsense approach, Watters called out Biden's lackluster response, accusing him of projecting a feeble image of America to the world. Watters argues that the president's policies and decisions have had a detrimental impact on the economic well-being of the American people. He points to the increasing prices of goods and services, which he claims are directly linked to the president's expansive spending plans and loose monetary policies. Watters argues that the rising cost of living is putting a strain on American families and eroding their purchasing power. He also criticized Biden's proposed tax hikes on corporations and high-income earners. He argues that these tax increases will stifle economic growth and discourage businesses from investing and creating jobs. Watters suggests that the administration's focus on redistributive policies and wealth redistribution is detrimental to the overall health of the economy. He cites the concerns raised by economists and business leaders who warn of the potential negative consequences of Biden's economic policies. He highlights the impact of increased regulations and government intervention, which he argues stifles innovation and hampers entrepreneurial spirit. According to Watters, Biden's policies and decisions have been nothing short of a disaster, leaving our nation vulnerable and our citizens suffering the consequences. It's clear that Watters believes Biden has failed as a president, and he's not afraid to say it. The latest video is one in a long list of Watters' critical videos aimed directly at Biden and his administration. One of the key issues that Jesse Watters has been targeting is the immigration crisis at the border. According to Watters, Biden is struggling to save himself from political deportation due to his mishandling of the situation. Watters argues that immigration is a top concern among voters, and the Biden administration's policies have only exacerbated the problem. Watters has been relentless in his criticism of Biden's approach to immigration. He highlights the alarming surge of illegal border crossings, which he claims is a direct result of the administration's lax policies. Watters argues that Biden's decision to reverse many of the Trump-era immigration policies, such as the Remain in Mexico policy and the construction of the border wall, has created a magnet effect, attracting more migrants to make the dangerous journey to the United States. But it's not just the high number of illegal border crossings that has caught Watters' attention. He also points out the concerning issue of human trafficking and drug smuggling that has intensified under the Biden administration. Watters alleges that the lack of proper border security measures has allowed criminal organizations to exploit the situation, endangering the lives of innocent people and flooding the country with illegal drugs. Watters cites shocking statistics and real-life stories of individuals who have fallen victim to the immigration crisis to support his claims. He highlights the tragic cases of human trafficking, where vulnerable individuals, including women and children, are subjected to unimaginable horrors as they are smuggled across the border. Watters argues that the Biden administration's failure to address these issues effectively is a betrayal of the American people's trust and a threat to national security. Watters also emphasizes the economic impact of the immigration crisis. He argues that the influx of undocumented immigrants puts a strain on public resources and job opportunities for American citizens. Watters claims that the Biden administration's lenient stance on immigration not only undermines the rule of law, but also harms the livelihoods of hardworking Americans. Another area of focus for Jesse Watters is the border wall and border security. Watters claims that Biden's decision to halt construction construction of the border wall has left the country vulnerable to illegal immigration and drug trafficking. He argues that the lack of a physical barrier has made it easier for criminals to enter the United States. Waters criticizes Biden's decision to halt the construction of the border wall, which he believes was a crucial step in securing the nation's borders. He argues that the wall serves as a deterrent, making it harder for individuals to illegally cross into the country. Waters points out that the border wall was not just a symbol, but a practical solution to address the ongoing immigration crisis. He highlights the stories of Border Patrol agents who have witnessed firsthand the impact of the halted construction. He shares their accounts of increased illegal border crossings and the challenges they face in apprehending individuals attempting to enter the country unlawfully. Waters argues that by neglecting border security, the Biden administration is compromising the safety and well-being of American citizens. In addition to the security concerns, Waters also highlights the economic impact of the administration's stance on the border wall. He argues that the construction of the wall would have created jobs and stimulated economic growth in border communities. By halting the project, Waters claims that Biden has not only compromised national security, but also hindered economic opportunities for Americans. Perhaps the most shocking claim made by Jesse Waters is that President Biden has had the most remarkable meltdown of any president in modern history. Waters points to Biden's numerous gaffes, confusing statements, and moments of apparent confusion as evidence of his mental decline. According to Waters, Biden's cognitive abilities are deteriorating, and it is affecting his ability to govern effectively. He went as far as nicknaming the president of the free world Sleepy Joe. Waters has been relentless in his criticism of Biden's mental state. He highlights the president's frequent slips of the tongue, where he stumbles over words or loses his train of thought. Waters argues that these instances are not mere gaffes, but indicative of a deeper issue. He suggests that Biden's mental decline is a cause for concern and raises questions about his fitness to lead the country. He presented a compilation of Biden's most notable gaffes and moments of confusion.
Somehow, if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids.
From forgetting names and dates to making contradictory statements, Waters argues that these incidents paint a concerning picture of the president's cognitive abilities. Waters also points to Biden's performance during press conferences and public appearances. He claims that the president often appears dazed and confused, struggling to articulate his thoughts clearly. He argues that this lack of coherence undermines Biden's credibility and raises doubts about his ability to make sound decisions on behalf of the American people. Also, Waters suggests that Biden's mental decline has far-reaching implications for the country's foreign relations. He argues that world leaders may perceive Biden as weak and easily manipulated due to his apparent cognitive struggles. Waters claims that this perception could have serious consequences for national security and America's standing on the global stage. Another vital issue Waters addresses is the issue of rising national debt under the Biden administration. He argues that the president's ambitious spending plans, coupled with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, have led to a significant increase in the national debt. Waters suggests that this burden will be passed on to future generations, compromising their economic opportunities and financial stability. Waters criticizes Biden's handling of key foreign policy issues, such as the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan. He argues that the abrupt and chaotic manner in which the withdrawal was executed has left a power vacuum and allowed for the resurgence of terrorist organizations. Waters suggests that Biden's decision has compromised national security and undermined the sacrifices made by American soldiers. He claims that Biden's stance on China has been inconsistent and lacks a clear strategy. Waters argues that the president's failure to take a strong stance against China's human rights abuses and unfair trade practices sends a message of weakness to the world. He suggests that this weak approach could have long-term consequences for America's economic and national security interests. During the segment, Waters cites the concerns raised by foreign policy experts and lawmakers from both sides of the aisle. He highlights their criticism of Biden's lack of a coherent foreign policy vision and his failure to effectively address the challenges posed by global adversaries. Waters argues that these missteps have eroded America's credibility and weakened its position on the world stage. Also, he suggests that Biden's re-entry into international agreements, such as the Paris Climate Accord and the Iran nuclear deal, without securing significant concessions, undermines America's interests. He argues that these decisions prioritize global cooperation over protecting American jobs and national security. Waters claims that Biden's approach to foreign policy is misguided and fails to put America's interests first. Jesse Waters' scrutiny of President Biden's policies extends to the realm of healthcare. Waters argues that Biden's approach to healthcare is flawed and fails to address the underlying issues within the system. He criticizes Biden's push for a government-run healthcare system, often referred to as Medicare for All. He argues that such a system would lead to a decrease in the quality of care and result in longer wait times for medical procedures. Waters suggests that Biden's proposal fails to consider the potential negative consequences of a government takeover of healthcare. Also, he highlights the rising costs of healthcare under the Biden administration. He points to the increasing premiums and deductibles that many Americans are facing, despite promises of lower healthcare costs. Waters argues that Biden's policies have failed to deliver on their promises of affordable and accessible healthcare for all. Waters cites the concerns raised by healthcare professionals and industry experts. He suggests that Biden's approach to healthcare fails to address the root causes of rising costs and instead focuses on expanding government control. Waters emphasizes the potential impact of Biden's healthcare policies on the economy. He argues that the proposed tax increases to fund government-run healthcare would burden businesses and hinder job creation. Waters suggests that Biden's focus on expanding government control over healthcare neglects the importance of a thriving private sector and innovation within the industry. According to Waters, Biden's administration is also lacking when it comes to environmental policies. He criticizes Biden's decision to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord, claiming that it places an unfair burden on the United States while allowing other countries, such as China and India, to continue emitting high levels of greenhouse gases. Waters suggests that Biden's approach fails to strike a balance between environmental protection and economic growth. He highlights the potential impact of Biden's proposed regulations on the energy industry. Waters argues that the administration's focus on transitioning to renewable energy sources could lead to job losses in traditional energy sectors, such as coal and oil. Waters suggests that Biden's policies fail to consider the economic consequences of such transitions and the potential hardships faced by American workers. He cites the concerns raised by industry experts and lawmakers, who argue that Biden's environmental policies could lead to higher energy costs for consumers and hinder America's energy independence. He suggests that the administration's focus on renewable energy sources neglects the importance of a diversified energy portfolio and the potential for technological advancements in traditional energy sectors. In one of his segments, Waters also addressed the president's policies on criminal justice. He argued that the Biden administration's criminal justice reforms are misguided and do not address the underlying problems within the system. Waters has repeatedly criticized Biden's support for defunding the police, arguing that it undermines public safety and puts communities at risk. He suggests that instead of defunding the police, there should be a focus on improving training, accountability, and community engagement. Waters claims that Biden's stance on this issue disregards the concerns of law-abiding citizens who rely on the police for their safety and security. Also, Waters highlights the potential consequences of Biden's lenient approach to criminal justice. He argues that the administration's push for reduced sentences and early release programs could jeopardize public safety by allowing dangerous criminals back onto the streets. Waters suggests that a balanced approach to criminal justice reform should prioritize both rehabilitation and the protection of innocent citizens. These are just a few of multiple government policies Waters has criticized over the last 3 years. He has also condemned Biden's policies on education, foreign relations, and literally everything else. The truth is that these aren't empty banter or criticisms based on spite. Waters' comments about Biden's administration are based on facts, and he isn't the only one who argues that the administration has done more harm to the American people than good. Biden's track record and possibility of re-election. Biden has declared his interest in running for a second term, but his road back to the White House is rocky, to say the least. The media coverage and unwarranted concern over Biden's age have created a cloud of cynicism and ageism, drowning out the remarkable achievements of his first term. Despite the criticism from public figures like Jesse Waters, Biden has made some undeniable strides as president. His administration has supervised the resurgent economy, transformative legislative wins, and a return to normalcy in the executive function of government post-pandemic. Unfortunately, the public is struggling to hear the triumphs of the Biden presidency because of his age and other other issues he has failed to address. Throughout history, octogenarian leaders have played crucial roles in rebuilding nations at fragile moments, proving that age should not be a barrier to recognizing President Joe Biden's achievements. One of the most iconic figures in American history, Benjamin Franklin, led the needed national consensus in the U.S. Constitutional Convention at the age of 82. His wisdom and guidance were instrumental in shaping the foundation of the United States. Similarly, Konrad Adenauer, at 87 years old, rebuilt national spirit and global trust for defeated post-war Germany. His leadership and vision laid the groundwork for Germany's remarkable recovery. Now, let's bring the focus back to President Joe Biden. At 80 years old, Biden has brought economic resurgence and renewed positive purpose to the American character. It is important to note that Biden is just 3 years older than likely rival candidate Donald Trump, and a dozen years younger than his main media critic, 92-year-old Fox chief Rupert Murdoch. Despite these facts, the deafening cacophony of colliding choruses of media critics creates such noise that it is hard for the public to hear the triumphs of the Biden presidency. The media's cynicism and ageism have overshadowed the remarkable accomplishments of Biden's first term. Remarkably, statistics show that over the last 2.5 years, the United States has enjoyed a resurgent economy, defying the cynical expectations of pundits, pollsters, and media commentators. Despite these facts, Waters and the rest of the media continue to perpetuate doom and gloom prognostications of impending recession and malaise, drowning out the truth of Biden's accomplishments. One example of this cynicism is the Harvard-Harris poll, which claims that a whopping 70% of voters believe the economy is on the wrong track, including a majority of Democratic voters. These statistics are used to fuel the narrative that Biden's economic policies are failing. However, it is important to question the credibility of such pollsters, especially considering their erroneous prediction of a sweeping red wave in last year's midterm elections. The media's focus on crises and decline, rather than showcasing the speedy and effective government action that has come to the rescue in various situations, creates a distorted narrative. From the new resurgent COVID-19 strains to paralyzing ransomware cyber attacks, supply chain backlogs, and natural disasters, the media's microphones move from one crisis to another, overshadowing the coordinated government response that has resolved each issue. If anything, we almost wish the Biden team were more vocal in trumpeting their accomplishments in building a stronger and more equitable economy, from the bottom up and the middle out, as Biden himself likes to say. The truth is that there has never been a better time to do business in America than right now, as highlighted by David Brooks in the New York Times, citing The Economist. Let's start with Biden's legislative wins. Despite the corrosive impact of ideological chants from the GOP and inherently skeptical media, President Joe Biden's administration has already achieved significant legislative wins that are having a transformative impact on the nation. One of these key accomplishments is the $50 billion CHIPS Act, which aims to reshore critical supply chain and chip vulnerabilities. This act recognizes the importance of securing the nation's technological infrastructure and ensuring its resilience in the face of global challenges. By investing in domestic chip production, the Biden administration is taking proactive steps to safeguard national security and economic stability. Another landmark achievement is the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, which not only revitalizes legacy roads and bridges, but also develops the clean energy infrastructure of the future. This comprehensive investment in infrastructure will create jobs, improve transportation networks, and promote sustainable practices. It is a testament to Biden's commitment to building a stronger and more resilient nation, both in terms of physical infrastructure and environmental sustainability. Additionally, the Inflation Reduction Act is another legislative win that deserves recognition. This act aims to lower drug pricing and accelerate the building out of the decarbonization economy. By addressing the rising costs of healthcare and promoting clean energy initiatives, the Biden administration is prioritizing the well-being of the American people and the planet. Although it isn't without its downsides, these legislative accomplishments have already yielded tangible results. Since the start of 2021, over 12 million jobs have been added to the economy, including more than 1 million manufacturing jobs. The unemployment rate sits at a 54-year low, with record lows for Black and Hispanic workers. Contrary to claims of out-of-control spending, these achievements have not come at the expense of fiscal responsibility. In fact, the deficit has shrunk by $1.7 trillion, marking the largest deficit reduction in American history. Despite these remarkable successes, the corrosive impact of ideological chants and media cynicism continues to overshadow the truth. Skeptics are quick to dismiss Biden's accomplishments and ask, "Yeah, but what have you done for us lately?" without acknowledging the skilled recovery from inherited problems. It is unfortunate that the Biden cabinet, while honest, experienced, and skilled, lacks the bombast of the Trump's administration. Perhaps a little bit of self-promotion would not hurt. During his administration, former President Donald Trump never held back from media promotion. He was loud, and he spoke with conviction, allowing him to build and maintain a loyal fan base despite the failings of his administration.
Every decision will be made to benefit American workers and American families. America will start winning again, winning like never before.
Amidst the media's cynicism and age bias, concerns have been raised about President Joe Biden's age and the possibility of an accelerated decline. However, a closer look at Biden's daily schedule, exercise routine, and accomplishments debunks these notions and highlights his resilience and ability to lead. First of all, let's consider Biden's daily schedule. It is a grueling one, filled with national travel and daunting globetrotting. The demands of the presidency require immense energy and stamina, and Biden has consistently shown his ability to keep up with the demands of the job. It is unlikely that any of the Wall Street Journal editors who raise concerns about Biden's decline could match his pace and endurance. Furthermore, Biden maintains a robust exercise routine, which contributes to his overall well-being and vitality. Regular exercise has proven to have numerous health benefits, including improved cognitive function and increased energy levels. Biden's commitment to staying active demonstrates his dedication to maintaining a healthy lifestyle and defying the stereotypes associated with aging. It is important to note that Biden has had a speech stutter since childhood. However, this has become less of a problem with age, and his speeches have become far more concise compared to the lengthy monologues of his predecessor, Donald Trump. Biden's ability to communicate effectively and deliver impactful messages is a testament to his adaptability and growth over the years. When it comes to accomplishments, Biden's track record speaks for itself. Under his leadership, the United States has experienced a resurgent post-pandemic economy. These achievements are a result of Biden's steady stewardship and effective policies, which have brought about positive change for the American people. Also, many scientists, artists, and leaders have produced their best work in their later years. It is essential to remember that cynicism and ageism are societal pathologies that have filtered the truth from the public throughout history. These barriers have hindered our ability to see the transformative change that leaders can bring, regardless of their age. Unfortunately, the majority of the public doesn't feel this way. In fact, the president's job approval ratings have fallen to an all-time low of 38%, according to data from Gallup. Also, Trump is currently leading the public opinion polls, which is odd since he is only a few years younger than Biden. As the 2024 elections loom on the horizon, the rivalry between Trump and Biden shows no signs of fading away. Both figures continue to command attention and influence within their respective parties, shaping the direction of the Republican and Democratic agendas. For Trump, the loss in 2020 was a bitter pill to swallow. However, he remains a force to be reckoned with, wielding significant influence over the Republican Party and millions of Americans. On the other hand, Biden faces the daunting task of delivering on his promises and navigating a deeply divided nation. His administration's policies and actions will undoubtedly shape the Democratic Party's future and determine its chances of success in the upcoming elections. One of the defining aspects of Trump versus Biden rivalry is the stark contrast in their policy agendas. From healthcare to immigration, the two leaders have presented vastly different visions for the future of America. During his presidency, Trump focused on rolling back regulations and championing conservative policies. He implemented tax cuts, deregulated industries, and appointed conservative judges to federal courts. His America First approach prioritized protecting American jobs and renegotiating trade deals to benefit the United States. However, Biden has taken a more progressive stance, advocating for policies aimed at addressing income inequality, climate change, and racial justice. His administration has proposed significant investments in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Biden's push for a more inclusive and equitable society has garnered support from progressive Democrats, while drawing criticism from conservatives who argue that his policies are too costly and burdensome to the American people. One of the most contentious issues between the two leaders is healthcare. Trump sought to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, arguing that it was a government overreach and stifled competition. His administration made efforts to repeal and replace the law, but faced significant opposition from Democrats and even some members of his own party. In contrast, Biden has vowed to protect and expand the Affordable Care Act, aiming to provide more Americans with access to affordable health care. He has proposed a public option that would allow individuals to buy into a government-run insurance plan, while also lowering the age of eligibility for Medicare. Another area of contention is immigration. Trump's hardline stance on immigration, including the construction of a border wall and the implementation of travel bans, drew both praise and criticism. His administration prioritized border security and cracking down on illegal immigration, arguing that it was necessary to protect American jobs and national security. Biden, on the other hand, has taken a more compassionate approach to immigration, allowing over 12 million illegal migrants to slip through the borders with little resistance. He has proposed a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, halted construction of the border wall, and reversed several of Trump's immigration policies. These actions have been met with both support from immigrant rights advocates and criticism from conservatives who argue that they undermine national security. The policy divide between Trump and Biden reflects the broader ideological differences between Republicans and Democrats. It highlights the ongoing battle for the soul of the nation and the direction in which it should head. As the 2024 elections approach, the policy choices made by these two leaders will undoubtedly shape the political landscape and influence the outcome of the race. The two leaders embody contrasting values, leadership styles, and visions for the nation's future. Trump's presidency was marked by a brash and confrontational approach, appealing to a base that felt left behind by globalization and cultural shifts. His America First agenda resonated with those who believed in a more nationalist and protectionist approach to governance. Biden, on the other hand, has positioned himself as a unifying figure, seeking to heal the divisions that have plagued the nation. His emphasis on empathy, unity, and decency has struck a chord with many Americans who long for a return to civility and cooperation. With the 2024 elections on the horizon, speculation about the future of Trump versus Biden rivalry is at an all-time high. Both leaders have left their mark on American politics, and their influence continues to reverberate within their respective parties. For Trump, the possibility of a comeback looms large. His loyal base remains steadfast, and he continues to command significant influence within the Republican Party. Right now, he is the strongest match who stands a chance against Biden. On the Democratic side, Biden's presidency will play a crucial role in shaping the party's future. His ability to deliver on his promises and address the pressing issues facing the nation will determine the party's chances of success in the 2024 elections. But the question of who will emerge as the Democratic nominee, should Biden choose not to run for a second term, remains uncertain. The way these two leaders are portrayed in the media and perceived by the public has a significant impact on their political fortunes and the narrative surrounding their rivalry. During his presidency, Donald Trump had a tumultuous relationship with the media. He often referred to them as fake news and accused them of biased reporting. Trump's use of social media, particularly Twitter, allowed him to bypass traditional media channels and communicate directly with his supporters. His ability to control the narrative and shape public opinion through his unfiltered messages was a defining characteristic of his presidency. Biden, on the other hand, has enjoyed a more favorable relationship with the media. His administration has sought to restore a sense of normalcy and professionalism to the White House press briefings, with a focus on transparency and accountability. Biden's measured and empathetic communication style has been well received by many in the media and the public. Despite his respectful and calm demeanor, media bias and the polarization of news sources have played a significant role in shaping public perception of Biden. The role of media and public perception will continue to be a crucial factor in this rivalry. How each leader is portrayed, the narratives that emerge, and the way their actions are interpreted will shape the political landscape and determine the course of the nation. Beyond the rivalry, the future of American politics hangs in the balance. The outcome of the 2024 elections will have far-reaching implications for the nation's trajectory and the issues that will define its future. It can potentially bring the nation together or divide it forever. Jesse Watters' relentless attacks on President Joe Biden have left no stone unturned. From the immigration crisis to the border wall and border security, Watters has criticized the administration's policies and decisions. Cynicism is another challenge threatening to overshadow Biden's accomplishments, as have the loud voices of the opposition. While the administration isn't perfect, it may not be as bad as the media portrays it. With more self-promotion, Biden may just save face and win his re-election into the White House. Click on the next video to learn more about Watters' relentless attacks on the Biden administration.